Well, good afternoon, everyone. So thrilled to see so many people here and people entering by the minute here. But I don't want to waste any time in getting us started here on our Community College STEM Network webinar. My name is Michelle Van Noy, and I'm Director of the Education and Employment Research Center here at Rutgers. And uh, leading the CCSN along with many others on my team. I'm really grateful to be part of the CCSN. Our goal is to connect and support researchers and practitioners to conduct and translate research on how students navigate STEM pathways and build evidence-based practices, programs, and policies. We have this ongoing webinar series as well as research projects and partnerships that seek to understand how low-income, academically talented students navigate pathways in STEM fields. And we're just thrilled today to have this wonderful webinar bringing together minds of some great leaders in our field. So I really want to thank everybody who's here today. Thank Deborah Bragg for her instrumental efforts in helping to organize this, and really thank Annette Parker for her role in facilitating and moderating this webinar. We're grateful for all of Annette's expertise over the years in STEM and workforce development, and grateful to have her helping to support our project in her new role as a newly retired President Emeritus of South Central College in Minnesota. So thankful to have you here with us, Annette. And I will let Annette introduce our speakers today and take over the moderation. I just wanted to just quickly make a couple of announcements about the webinar. It's just that we are recording, so we will be planning to share out the webinar recording later. Generally, we ask for folks who aren't speaking to keep your cameras off for the duration of the webinar, but we really encourage you to ask questions or provide comments throughout the duration of the webinar in the chat, and we'll seek to make sure that we answer all of the questions that folks have. So with that, I'm just going to turn things over to Annette to get us kicked off and start the webinar. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you to the CCSN team for all you do to put this great panel together. And I'm just honored to be able to introduce our speakers and ask them some questions and then see what questions we have from the field. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I certainly did. It's a great time this time of year to spend time with family and friends. And so I hope you did, and all your travels are safe and you're back home, regardless of where you were and what weather impacts you may have experienced. It's my honor to first introduce Dr. Avis Proctor. She is the sixth president of Harper College. Avis has 25 years of experience from mathematics and education and academic administration. She's an Aspen Presidential Fellow and Higher Education Scholar. Dr. Proctor has contributed to the field on progressive leadership in higher education research-based instructional strategies, strategic community engagement, economic development, and the STEM pipeline for underrepresented groups. Dr. Proctor holds a BA in mathematics education at Florida A&M, a Master's of Science in Teaching Mathematics at Florida Atlantic, and a PhD in higher education from Florida International University. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Proctor. Dr. Chimie Crawford has served over 30 years in higher education with with 10 years in the California Community College system. She previously worked as president and CEO of North Seattle College and associate vice chancellor at Dallas County Community College District, now Dallas College, as well as faculty at Western Governors University and adjunct for the University of North Texas at Dallas, the University of Phoenix, Nevada State College, and the College of Southern Nevada. Dr. Crawford holds a BA in organizational behavior and Master's in Human Resources and Organizational Development from the University of San Francisco, and a PhD in Education Organizational Leadership from Nova Northeastern University. Dr. Crawford, thank you for joining us. And then last but not least is Dr. Kevin Walters. Kevin joined Allen Hancock College in July of 2013, and he was previously president at Los Positos College in Livermore. In his first 3 years at Hancock, the college has received over $13 million in new external funding through donations and grants that go directly to students and programs. He began as a high school teacher in Dallas after graduating from the University of Texas at Austin, and he holds a PhD from the University of Utah in educational leadership and policy. Again, thank you to our speakers today, our panel. And I'll begin with a first question to kind of warm up this conversation and I'll just start in the same order that I introduced the panel. So, Dr. Proctor, you can go first. Tell us a little bit about the STEM programs you offer at your college.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Parker. We offer typical STEM programs in the sciences and math and technology and engineering, right? So we have biology, chemistry, earth science, physics and astronomy, computer science, engineering, and of course, my favorite, mathematics, which is in all of this. Everything that we do involves some kind of use of mathematics. And my love for math stems from a young age when I had to learn how to make change, believe it or not, selling baked goods for my grandmother. And so math is something I found that has come naturally, so to speak, for me, and have been committed to changing the narrative of our country that it's okay not to know how to do mathematics. And so it's a lifelong commitment I've made to change the environment and the narrative around the use of math and STEM education, as you heard in my bio, is something I've committed to and I work to enhance each and every day.
Thank you so much. Dr. Crawford, same question. Tell us a little bit about your STEM programs that you offer at your college.
Well, at every community college, and good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say. At every community college, we have merged our STEM division along with our health professions division. And that was a conscious effort or conscious decision, because we know that those on ramps and off ramps that we often talk about with guided pathways can lead to health professions in other areas. So, of course, the typical health professions are included medical assisting, nursing, phlebotomy. We all know that's math and science. Of course, math and science departments, engineering and computer science. We were just approved to offer a baccalaureate degree in computer science. The life sciences, of course, which includes biology, botany, environmental studies, nutrition, definitely mathematics and the physical sciences. But one thing that I think makes us unique is our Ocean Research College Academy, which is part of it's hard to say, oceanography, but it is a research academy where students complete high school and get an associate's degree at the same time, and they are doing actual research under the guise of oceanography. And a good number, I'd say more than 90% of those students transfer to the University of Washington. So we have a transfer partnership with them for many of our ORCA students, and we're particularly proud of our ORCA program. And that's pretty much it for our STEM.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really interesting. We have to hear more about oceanography.
Oh, absolutely, especially for diverse students. However you define that in your world. You know, we're always trying to go to the moon, but nobody's really looking at the oceans, right? And
Yeah,
so I love this program. The success rate again is in the 90th percentile. They complete high school, they complete an associate's degree at the same time, and then they transfer to the University of Washington. You can't beat that.
that's awesome. Thank you so much. And they're using math, Dr. Proctor.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Dr. Walters, please tell us a little bit about the STEM programs you offer at your college.
I will, and Shameen, we're trying to go to the moon. So our location on California's Central Coast is the home to SpaceX and United Launch Alliance and Firefly, along with the Department of Defense. So we're constantly launching rockets from our backyard here, and it's pretty exciting. So the aerospace industry is pretty big for us, and our programs as a Hispanic serving institution. We've been able to leverage some grants from back when the federal government still gave HSI grants and some state funding, so that our students can get an engineering degree, which is not unique but not common in the California community college system. So we do offer an associate degree in engineering, and then we offer that the full range of the chemistry, biology, and math classes, because we are the primary provider of nursing faculty in our community. So we need those STEM programs to help us make sure we can train nurses. We graduate about 53 nurses, RNs a year, and 38 LVNs a year through our program. So it's a big program on campus, and really exciting to see the students who are transferring on to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara, primary transfer for our STEM students.
That's awesome. So we're going to go the other direction with this next question. So we'll start with you, Dr. Walters. So you've kind of led into this, but what are some of the ways your college is working to improve your student outcomes, specifically in STEM, but overall?
One of the things that we focused on from the time, this is my 13th year here, and I came in from a background that was very involved with Complete College America and those kind of programs. And we started trying to change the conversation on campus from being about access to being completion. It doesn't do our students any good to spend, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or certainly longer and not get a credential. So we started talking about how do we remove barriers for all of our students. Our college motto is now changing the odds. And we say that as, we talk a lot in community colleges about students who overcome the odds, and we want to talk about how do we change the odds? How do we make sure students can get in? So we focused on affordability and then tutoring, and we have an investment in a Mesa STEM Center that maybe later we could talk more about. But the Mesa STEM Center has full-time counseling, advising, staffing, student workers who are all dedicated to making sure every student who's in the STEM program, whether they're a major or not, can get support within that program. And it's been a really great program where we've combined our STEM Center with our Mesa program into one great unit.
Thank you. It sounds like incredible work to support students. And so, Dr. Crawford, tell us a little bit about what's going on at Everett.
Well, we do many similar things aligned with our guided pathways work. And the STEM area actually has its own pathway coach to work with students. We've created, particularly in the life sciences, course timings and scheduling that really meet the needs of returning students and those with families, because that's primarily who we serve. We have a demographic from 18 to 24, but many of these 18 and 24-year-olds got started early. And so many of them have families and have kind of gotten on with it, and they're returning to college. We've also worked with the University of Washington to kind of backward design our curriculum so that the pedagogy is more inclusive and there's more inclusive techniques. And what we've seen is that it has increased retention and created a high level of transfer to the University of Washington and other colleges as well. Many of our college partners are engaged with our STEM students in that, there are tours to campus, they're reaching out saying, hey, come visit. And I know a lot of this has to do with recruitment, but it also gives a student an opportunity to get a feel for their learning environment and where they can learn best. And it's great when our college has a connection to all of these spaces, right? So that the students do have choices, and students tend to choose us because of that. And we also have a STEM-focused college success course for STEM students, because it's a little different twist. We have college success for all students, but we do have certain sections particularly for STEM students.
Thank you for that. Outstanding. Dr. Proctor, I know you're doing great work at Harper. Tell us a little bit about how you support your student outcomes for STEM programs.
So, grounded in our strategic plan that we just launched this year, we have three goals. And the first goal is about being a supportive and inclusive community. The second one is about what we do. So, who we serve, how we want to serve, is the people part, the first goal. The second goal is about providing an innovative and responsive education. And so that ties directly to this question. And the third one is how we do it. And we want to do it with organizational excellence. And so we think about the programs that we offer and making sure that they're responsive to community needs. And so we pursue several grants. And so through the National Science Foundation, we're the lead institution working with other institutions around implementing built teams, business and industry leadership teams, which is more than an advisory committee. It's really uh, bringing to the table industry experts as to what's needed in the field with our faculty and co-designing the curriculum. And coupling with that work is some Department of Labor support that received Strengthening Community Colleges Training Grant, through which we were able to develop cybersecurity and artificial intelligence at cloud computing degree programs. And so we launched cybersecurity last fall. We're completing a hire for an AI cloud computing faculty member as we speak to launch that. Hopefully next semester they can begin with us pending board approval. And so those are some ways in which we bring the programs that are needed for industry today. And then, of course, your traditional supports of having student clubs on campus tied to the different disciplines, partnering with our university. So we have a university center on campus with four universities, two private, two public. And then, of course, we also partner with other universities with transfer agreements. One of our strongest ones is our engineering pathways agreement with the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, which has the ranked number 5 in the nation in terms of their undergraduate engineering program. So we have a strong connection there. And of course, in order to strengthen the work in STEM and support our students, we have to support teachers in this work. So we partner with Elmhurst University with their Robert Noyce program, helping again get good representation in the field to influence people from all walks of life to pursue STEM education. So those are different ways in which we support our students. And we'll talk later, I believe, about the holistic supports that we provide our students too. The basic needs.
You didn't tell me you needed me to be back at a specific time. Yeah.
The basic needs support that we provide for students. All of our students need it. STEM students need it as well in terms of food insecurities, housing insecurities, transportation challenges even. We put a lift program in place for our students. So I can delve into that later, but holistic supports of students is a key component to making sure that students are successful in general. And then, of course, things related to supporting them in STEM education is another layer of support that we provide.
Wow, you guys are awesome. You're just really pushing all the buttons, and I thank you. Just now, for the audience, I'm sure you look at this group of presidents that we put together and say, yeah, they're doing the right things to make sure our students succeed and our nation succeeds, and in the communities that these students live in. The next question I'm going to have, and Avis, I'm going to start with you and go the other way again. But the CCSN likes to think about STEM students in terms of STEM pathways, and you guys have really already kind of addressed this. So if you want to go a little further, go ahead. But we're wondering how your college has integrated the idea of STEM pathways into your curriculum.
Sure. So when I think about student success in general, then tying it to the STEM curriculum, we've decided to sunset programs that were working for small groups of students. and wanted to scale that impact and make it sustainable for all of our students. And so our SOAR Plus model will have mentoring components, will have key to this piece, though, is the academic planning. And so program maps, making sure that they're taking the right English, well, the English and the right math for their programs, engaging with their career aspirations in that first semester. Is there a science that they need to take in that first semester? Making sure that the program maps have that. So that's some work that I know our provost is working with the faculty on, defining the right electives, right? And then, of course, making sure that our transfer agreements aren't sitting on the shelf, but that they're representative of this time, and making sure that they're checked on and revamped as curriculum evolves. And so those are some ways in which, from a STEM pathway standpoint, thinking through the educational plan that they, first of all, mapping it out and then having the right math for that program they've selected and thinking beyond Harper, thinking beyond the community college, thinking about that bachelor degree. You know, our students in general, when we look at the data for transfer, um, in a 6 year rate, 54+% 6 year transfer rate. And in 6 years, about 84% of them earning their bachelor's degree. But when we look at our engineering piece, we see actually much higher rates than that. The transfer rate is at 82 plus percent, and over 88% haven't earned their 6 year bachelor degree. And their bachelor's in 6 years, I would say. And so the reality is having strong program maps mapped out with clarity beyond our institution, I think is key for success in the STEM pathways.
Thank you for sharing that great work. Dr. Crawford, tell us about your STEM pathways.
Right. In addition to what Dr. Proctor shared, again, we're heavily invested in guided pathways. And so our STEM pathway is an important pathway, but it's an important one that needs on-ramps and off-ramps. As I mentioned earlier, we're heavily invested in not only STEM and in guided pathways, but in our health professions, and our nursing program is one of the top nursing programs in the state. But one thing that we find with many of these programs, including STEM, is that students have aspirations and they get into these programs and they get on track, and then they realize for whatever reason, maybe it's not for them, or maybe there's a different emphasis. You know, I really love math, but maybe I want life sciences or whatever else. And so we make sure to do those regular checks with our students, if you will, because we recognize that sometimes when they realize, oh, maybe engineering is not for me, they will stop altogether. And that is not say, especially when students are, I will say, older, they're I should say more mature, and they're on a pathway and they're stuck with it and they're tied to it, and then they realize maybe this is not for me, they're more likely to leave. And so we make sure that, again, we're connected with these students to help them understand that this isn't a one track. This pathway isn't just one way. There are off ramps, on ramps. We make them aware of what they can do with the math and the science and all of the different things. And we also make sure that this cafeteria plan that we tend to offer students really isn't for them. It doesn't work well for anyone. We know that. And so we make sure that our students are focused, understand what it is that they need to do, and basically stay on a path, whatever path they choose. If they need to choose another path, we have that available. Let us help you get there. So it really is a lot of personal work involved in this. And there's also the myth among students that, oh, well, I wasn't a STEM baby. I was a STEM baby, so I'm calling it a STEM baby, but I wasn't a STEM baby in high school, and therefore STEM is not for me, math is not for me, science is not for me. And so we find here at Everett that there are many folks who are well into adulthood who realize, whoa, I'm a STEM person and I can do this and I'm interested. And so we make sure to have spaces and pathways and courses aligned for those folks as well. Because that is a group of people that are often ignored when it comes to STEM, because again, you're on a STEM pathway from high school. In my day, it was that, and you were STEM forever. And it's like, no. There are some folks who realize later, hey, I like STEM. I can do this. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a scientist. I want to be a mathematician and all that. And we make sure that we can accommodate them as well. time is of no issue, basically. If you want to start this when you are 50, we're here for you. 60, we're here for you, or whatever. And that's so important for our particular demographic here in Everett.
Thank you for all that you do to support students. Thank you. Dr. Walters, so how do you look at STEM pathways at your institution?
I thought, and I know we're not doing slide decks, but I do want to share. I'm going to share an image here, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
And this is our STEM pathways, and I think it's instructive in that it's more than just what we normally think of as science, technology, engineering, and math. We're including agriculture, which includes our wine program, and we're including all of our career technical education programs. So you can see there's auto body, automotive tech, welding, machining, and manufacturing. So all of those things are available to students. And I think from our perspective, what we want to show, what we want for our students in those career education programs, we're building transferable skills that can go into the space industry. Okay, because SpaceX needs people who can do repairs. You know, they bring those rockets back, refurbish them, and shoot them off again. They need people who can do that. They need the skills that you develop in an auto body program transfer directly into that rocket launch type area. So we want to make sure that our STEM is widely defined so that our students have a pathway into good paying careers, because it costs a lot of money to live in this part of California. And so we want to be sure that they can get there. Our newest, we were teaching what was called electronics. We were teaching electronics before, and the program was dying on the vine, and we revamped it it's called computer networking and electronics technology, because that's what it was. We were really doing computer networking and how to build electronic boards and things like that. You know, we say electronics, somebody my age, we think you're going to Radio Shack, right? And we wanted students to know that this was a pathway into, if they wanted to be network engineers, or if they wanted to work in a field where they could actually build the boards that run. You know, our faculty member came from the music industry. He was building electronics boards that run amplifiers. And so the students are really fascinated by that. And we've seen that program explode just by reconfiguring how we teach it and how we advance that into our high school so they know what they're getting into.
Thank you so much. Dr. Walters, we're going to lead you right into the next question. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into your NSF STEM program. All three of these great institutions have an STEM grant, and we really want to spend some time helping other presidents and other leaders understand how to successfully administer those grants. It deals with the questions you've already answered and some more around wraparound services. I know the faculty had a lot of interest in that as well, that we've talked to. But tell us about your STEM grant. What are some of the key features, and how is it working? And how does it align with your college's goals to increase persistence, retention, graduation, and economic resilience? And we've kind of heard this a little bit, and I think we can delve deeper now into that question.
So our STEM grant allowed us to build a partnership with colleges up and down the coast. So as far north as almost to San Jose and down into Ventura County, where students could work on projects and actually go to a university and present research symposiums there. For students in our community is heavily Latino. We're a farming community. Many of the families in our community are farm workers. And so their children don't have the opportunity that my child has to engage in some of that activity. So when we can take our STEM grants and support these young students to get the experiences that kids in more affluent neighborhoods could get, that's a huge win for us. We're adding embedded tutors in the classroom, so students are getting jobs on campus, helping their peers. And you know what I've learned from this group of students, you know, the Gen Z, um, if you offer them a job helping someone, they will run through walls for you. It is absolutely phenomenal to see that generation and what their mindset is in helping their students. So, and then we're using the program to develop internships. We have a robust internship program where students are getting um, summer opportunities to work in some very cutting edge industry leaders here on the coast. And so we're thinking about how we can take all of those things, build them into our skill labs, so that our students just have constant resources whenever they need it. And that's I think that's been the real success, is that we're plowing most of that money directly into students. It's students are the first line where the money is hitting, and then we use the rest of it for we have some faculty stipends and stuff, but we really want the money to support student experiences so that they can, when they get transferred, they will be on the same level as their peers at their university.
Thank you so much, Dr. Crawford. And I forgot to mention, this is also a time you could talk about any holistic or wraparound services that you provide. I know I learned that you're achieving the Dream Leader College of Distinction. I know Harper College is as well. So please, if you could address that question.
Well, first I'll address what we're doing with our NSF STEM grant, and I'm referring to the notes from my team. Uh, we received in 2021 an STEM grant for $1.5 million. And each year we provide approximately $7,500 in support to each scholar, $7,500. We have approximately 20 to 25 scholars at any given time. Each scholar is awarded a scholarship, personal advising, and tutoring with one of the principal investigators. And it's also important to note that as far as our CBA goes, all faculty are advisors, right? They have an advising component to their work. We, of course, have special events, team and community building. We work with our partners, Boeing, Amgen, NanoString, Picard, those type of partners, and as well as local universities. Our students go to national conferences, and the grant also allows us to work with faculty and staff and provide stipends for training and professional development. And right now we're focused on a clean energy part of the grant. And there are approximately 20 faculty engaged in that. Clean energy is still important here in the state of Washington. And so we're even looking at working with our local counties, Snohomish County, with some grant, on behalf of some grant funds that they receive from the federal government to further explore clean energy. It's also important to note, and I've heard that quite a bit. I know, Kevin, you're going to the moon, and that's great, or to Mars, or whatever else. But we also have technology in that area as well. We have a site out at our local airport, Payne Field, where we're doing aviation technology, and that's where a lot of the clean energy work is going to happen as well. So we sounds like we're all engaged in the same type of work, and here at Everett, we're in the oceans and we're also in the skies.
Thank you so much. Dr. Proctor.
Well, I can say we're not in the ocean and in the skies here. We limited our application that we just were awarded recently to computer science. And so no ocean, no sky, although you could use the technology in in evaluating outcomes there. But we were focused on getting underrepresented groups into the STEM field, in particular for computer science, and giving them mentoring and co-curricular activities on campus. And in terms of holistic supports, um, our Hawks Care Resource Center has an array of supports that we offer our students, and it ranges from childcare, mental health support, referral to our academic success center in terms of tutorial support, technology loans, and making sure that our students are aware of all of those supports that are in place. If they have food insecurity, we have pantry. And so we, again, want to make sure that we remove barriers. Years ago, I introduced 3 pillars of equity in terms of just trying to level the playing field of all of our students coming in. We're open access, but we know everyone has different sets of needs as they enter the institution. And so, whatever those barriers may be, even transportation, I mentioned that earlier, we offer our students discounted rides through the Lyft rideshare so that transportation is not a barrier to them coming to school or leaving school if they have to get to work. As long as it starts or ends on a Harper location, they're able to use the Lyft program with 8 discounted rides per month. And so we're happy that we were able to meet the various needs of our students to help them be successful. Particularly for this grant, though, it's the co-curricular activities, um, helping our students understand the content, increase faculty engagement. We know when students connect with their faculty more, there's an increased chance for retention and success. And so that's the intentionality that we're putting into the work with the STEM grant program.
Thank you. Thank you again. You really just led me into this next question very nicely. And I just want to say that last year I was at the STEM, the national conference, and these are you all 3 of you leaders are talking about the things that make faculty very happy, and I'm sure your faculty are just excited to work with you. This next question is how does your college support your faculty and staff who are working on the STEM grant? And so, for example, how are the college's services? Dr. Proctor, you just hit that home run with that. Holistic supports for the students, etc. So I'm not going to go any deeper than that because you guys have really went deep into this. But how do you support your faculty and staff that work with the STEM that help these students be successful?
So faculty are experts in the classroom. And so we empower them with the supports to even do that at a better level in terms of instruction and supporting students. But one of the things that we have as an objective for our grant is to strengthen our recruitment strategies into the STEM fields. And so there's an administrative level of support that we have to provide for faculty there, and also sharing that burden. So while we may have a faculty member who's a PI for the grant, involving other faculty, right? And so they share that work across not only within a discipline, but even across departments. They're able to do that. And so bringing in our marketing team, our grants team, our foundation team in terms of the application process, making sure that those supports are there to have faculty focus on what's important and what they have expertise in, and then we provide the administrative supports to achieve success. Especially, one of the things that I'm not sitting at the table, but I ask my team to be sure that we have a cadence of accountability, right? If we've committed to the federal government, these are the outcomes that we are going to achieve in these particular years of the grant, then how are we checking in and making sure that those deliverables are being met? And if there are challenges there, then how can we provide support and remove barriers to get folks across the finish line? So those are some ways that I believe it's very important that we support our faculty, especially those working on this kind of work that involves not just their expertise, but then the administrative support as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Crawford.
Well, as I mentioned previously, with our grant, we do provide stipends for faculty as well as staff to support students, but on a broader scale. Again, our faculty, as part of our collective bargaining, have agreed to do advising. So all of our faculty do advising, which I think is phenomenal because it helps with student engagement. And as we know, studies show the more engagement there is with faculty, there's greater student success. And so that's kind of built into how we do what we do. But for our STEM areas, particularly our Orca area, which is our oceanography area, they are very hands-on and very focused on those particular areas. But across the campus, all of our faculty are engaged, whether it be transitional studies for those just trying to get a high school diploma and entering college, all the way to STEM, to nursing. They are very engaged, very hands-on. And with regards to our college-wide resources for all students, including STEM students, we too have pantries. We have a wonderful foundation that works very hard to garner resources for our students. We recognize that many of our students couch surf. We have, again, food pantry. We have special arrangements for food services off-site campuses. We give out, oh gosh, $300,000 a year to students to help them with food resources and those types of things. We have a transportation hub on campus where it's an actual transpo hub for the local bus service, and our students get benefits with regards to rides and transportation there. So we too are doing many holistic things to support our students. And again, looking at our student demographic, often we're supporting them and their families as well, because if they can't support their family, then they're not going to go to school. And so we need to make sure that they have what they need so that they can succeed, basically, and feed their families and house their families.
Thank you. Great work again. Dr. Walters.
I think the beyond the stipends, our faculty who are getting the stipends are generally the kind of faculty who would do this for free, but we don't we want to make sure that we're not taking advantage of them. One of the things that we've done, I'm going to do two things. One is we've provided support staff, and that's actually become for a couple of our faculty members, that was more important than the stipends. They just needed somebody who could fill out, the reports and all of those kind of things that they need. There's so much of that, and that allows the faculty stipend time to be focused on helping students get their poster boards together, being on those field trips that go to other universities, those kind of things that are the high level stuff that we need faculty to be doing, that are the high contact with the students. The other thing we've done is, I guess you'd call it braiding all of our grants, because the MESA grant in California is a specific grant that supports, it's designed for first generation, low income students, primarily students of color. So we have that program. We had the HSI STEM grant. We had the STEM grant, and we started braiding all of that together. Now, our accountants and our grant managers know how the dollars are being assigned, but to the students and even to me, it's completely, I don't see any of that. All I see is students being served. And when you go into our Mesa Center, you might be a Mesa student, and Mesa students get free textbooks, for example. So those Mesa students will come in and they'll get a free, they'll have their textbooks ready for them. Here's your textbooks for the semester. Off you go. And then another student who's not a MESA student comes in for the STEM grant. They may have a different type of deal. So to the students, it all looks the same. We're all STEM students, and we're all part of this STEM program. And that STEM center just creates a hub of activity where those students can really interact and kind of help each other on to success.
Thank you so much. And so, you all are just perfect examples. I want to thank you for all that you do for your college, for your communities, and for our nation. We wanted to have this session today to really help presidents to think about STEM grants and how to be successful with them. And I think you all have just knocked it out of the park in giving them advice and counsel. But I'm going to ask you, what further advice do you have for other community college presidents who might want to consider an STEM grant? And Avis, I'll start with you.
Okay. So you may have heard me mention earlier that we limited our grant to one discipline, computer science. And so I would say have a variety of disciplines that you're trying to address as it relates to what's needed in your community. That is an important context. So I wouldn't just pursue something that is not a need for your community. So align it to your community labor market needs. Um, Ensure multiple voices are at the table when developing the grant. So you'll have your faculty involvement, of course, but other supports that are needed so that when it comes to implementing that people understand holistically the approach that you want to take. And then, of course, I've already mentioned this as well, but I think it's critically important, especially as it relates to if you're going to pursue additional grants, you want to have successful outcomes. And so that cadence of accountability that I talked about earlier is a key piece in making sure that there are check-ins on your deliverables so that you can better support the individuals who are trying to accomplish the outcomes of the grant. And so those are three areas I think I would give advice to fellow presidents that make sure you understand the needs of your community, align it to more than one discipline, um, multiple voices at the table in shaping it, and then that cadence of accountability that will support you with greater success in receiving additional NSF grants.
Thank you so much. Dr. Crawford.
I agree with all of that, and aligning with the community, but also working with the community to brainstorm on the what else can we do. Much of the time, my time here at Everett thus far has been exactly that. Of course, working with the college community, but also working with the community, recognizing who we are. And I happen to work in a community that fully embraces this college, but I've been amazed at how many people have come out of the woodworks and industry and said, "Oh, good, you're the new president," which I'm not new anymore, but we have some great ideas that we want to work with you all on. That has been so key to our work. So all of these grants coming out right now, especially around STEM and other areas, we're all over it because we're learning more about who our students are, who our community is, what our community needs, what our students are expecting. And we're also educating them on what exactly this STEM thing means. People automatically assume, or many assume, that STEM is, oh, those really, really, really smart people who are good at math. And they're not understanding that STEM is so much broader than that now. People talk about computer science, and we hear in the media how computer scientists are being laid off. But we're not talking about how, in my day, I was a computer science major when I first started college, but computer science then is much different than it is now. And we have AI to consider as well. So constantly pivoting, right? And being nimble is so important. And I know that can be tough sometimes, especially when working with faculty and others who are married to certain things, and even the college at large. They have some, well, we've always done this. Okay, that's great, but let's pivot. What is the 2025, 26, 27, 29 of what we've always done? And that helps to inform the college community and it helps to inform our work. And then students get a better understanding of the fields that they're trying to go into and how they're related, how it's connected, and actually what they can do with this work once they've done it. That's super important.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, Dr. Walters, what advice would you give community college presidents that are interested in STEM programs?
Don't be afraid of your neighbor colleges. Our programs are really focused on cross college collaboration. Where we are on the Central Coast, we're about halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco, and our colleges are near enough, but not. I mean, I've got one college 50 miles to my south, another one 40 miles to the north. But we work together on all of these projects because none of us are big enough to really manage this on our own. And we can spread the student impact out because when our students show up at Cal Poly for that research symposium, um, they are they are meeting with students from the Ventura district. They're meeting from Santa Barbara City College, Cuesta College in San Luis Obispo, Hartnell College in Salinas. So they are seeing students who are similarly situated to them, but living in other parts of the Central Coast. And we've decided here, especially with Santa Barbara City College and Cuesta College, we're all on the same team. We're serving the Central Coast, and we're not afraid that I might lose an enrollment or two south or an enrollment or two north, and they're not worried about that either. We want to make sure that we're working for the whole community because our economy is regional, and we need to act as regional players in our local economy. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask some other colleges to partner with you on this. And I think there's a real synergy that you can get when you have people working across what are sometimes considered to be, uncrossable barriers of district lines.
Thank you. Great advice from all. We have about 7 minutes left, and we have one question from the field. And then we'll just see if you all have any closing comments. And again, thank you for your time. So this question from the field says that all comments about creating an effective college infrastructure to support STEM grants is super helpful. Are there other examples of how community colleges' administrative functions can or should be aligned to support STEM grants, including financial aid? And I'll just open the field for anybody that wants to take a stab at that.
I'd say use your entire institution. And what do I mean by that? Um, when I saw that we needed to actually have a cybersecurity program, uh, we know the credit side of the house takes a while to develop the curriculum and make sure it goes through our traditional processes. Uh, but I knew the need was imminent. It was like urgent. And so our continuing professional education, community education side of the house is a lever that we use. I actually called it our innovation accelerator. And that's how we were able to bring in the emerging technologies, be it AI, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and quantum. I not mention that. I want to be make sure I mention that that is a major shift in the field in terms of the global race to who's going to figure out quantum computing. And we know there are state actors, meaning other countries that are diligently working to beat us in that global race. And so, use your whole institution in terms of administrative functions to accelerate the innovation in the curriculum that you need to offer your community. And I've tied it to priorities that our state has. Our governor is advancing and want our state, to be the quantum prairie. And so, through the CHIPS and Science Act, we were a part of the Quantum Block Tech Hub here, one of the lead institutions. They're working with university partners and industry, of course. And so I think that's an important piece. And don't get stuck in the traditional advisory committees. I mentioned built earlier, bringing industry to the table from the beginning to develop that new curriculum. And financial aid, I think there's an educational financial literacy component, or financial wellness, I think is what our team has just transitioned to, educating our students on what that means in terms of how they can maximize the use of the financial aid awards that they receive.
Thank you. Thank you so much too for this is the second time you brought up built, and I chair the core board and very much appreciate the work that's coming out of Harper in that area. Anyone else want to address that question that was in the chat? How do you lever the whole college? They talked about financial aid and some other areas.
Well, I know here at Everett Community College, our foundation is so well connected and does phenomenal work. Um, just getting that information out there about who we are and how we do what we do We recently had, and this person will remain nameless, we recently had a major donor who normally just funnels their money to UW and others actually redirect some of those dollars to us because they recognize that financial aid's great. We do everything we can for all students to get dollars to them. We have a Washington State grant that is wonderful, but many of these students, particularly STEM students, particularly nursing students, oceanography students, other these students will have a long haul, a long pathway, if you will, and they'll need additional resources. And so we have found that many of our significant donors are redirecting their resources because they understand that them starting with us gives them a better chance of being successful. And in some of the programs I mentioned earlier, we now know those tied to our STEM grants, some of them are already in graduate programs.
Mm.
Right? So it's that good, solid foundation that they received with us that has allowed them to get to where they are. And also, and I'm glad Dr. Proctor mentioned the financials of it, having them strategize how they're going to sustain themselves, how they're going to pay for all of this, and not just have to shoot from the hip and do it, because that's a major barrier for so many of our students. They run out of money or they run out of resources. And that's a tragedy in this, even in today's environment, that's a tragedy. So helping to support students there is critical.
Right. Thank you so much. Dr. Walters, do you have any closing remarks? I know you've done some amazing work in this area.
Well, what we've done with affordability is we pay for we have a promise program that covers the first 2 years for full time students, and our SIM students are more likely to be full time. We've made a lot of investments, not just in tutors, but on campus jobs for students. We have a special funding program in California called SEAP, the Student Equity and Achievement Program, and we plow that money right into student jobs so that students can work on campus so that they can be in an environment where they don't have to choose between picking up a shift at McDonald's or going to class. And then finally, I think that idea of the hub, we put the hub together for the Mesa STEM Center, and we thought that would be really cool. But it is turned into just this amazing place where STEM majors have tremendous access to advising, internships, and transfer, but all STEM students have access to get support, even if they're just general ed students who are taking their basic biology course. That has become a transparent place on campus where our students really organize themselves around that place. So, um, figuring out a way to braid all those programs together, I think, is really key.
Well, thank you. And thank you all again. We are just thrilled that you could be here with us today. I know I'm speaking for the center, Dr. Bragg, and all of the leadership, Michelle Van Noy at Rutgers, at the center. We really appreciate your time today. And I know that everyone that participated has benefited from your wisdom. So thanks again for your time and have a happy holiday season.
Thank you.
Bye bye.